Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to talk right off the bat. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. Right,
Hello.
Lem?
Yes, so if you're not ready for the spoilers, then we're sorry, but this episode is gonna be full of
Yeah,
spoilers.
we love this show. To first show what we're talking about is on Netflix. Is now the second season of Firefly Lane. It
Yes.
stars Sarah Chalk as, you know what? I think her name, it is Malarkey. Why did I think it was the other one? I think it really is her last name is Malarkey.
What? Really?
But I swear to God, I thought they called it that other. Now I can't even remember the other name.
Catherine Hagel.
Well, no, not no. Catherine, yes, her. But I'm saying what the last name was for her, and then Sarah Chalk as Kate. And you watched this first season by yourself, and
Yeah,
then
I
you
did.
told me, Laura, you got to watch this, and
Exactly.
I take recommendations, and then sometimes I don't from people, but me and you tend to like things similar. So I said, okay, as long as it's not, I don't like lovey dovey crap, and I don't like, super sad stuff. But it is good. So if you guys have watched either season one or season two, we're about to talk about season two that came out 2 weeks ago. That's what we've been watching.
Yeah. Yep. So
Recap a little of how the season ended for them in case these people, nobody has watched this.
we can do that. Just afraid
I mean, it's just how.
let's start like one after the other so that if someone did not reach the end yet, but they've started to watch, they wouldn't get the spoilers right away.
True. What, of season one?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Yes. No, of
Well,
season
but
two.
how it ended. It's
I
like
mean,
how it ended.
exactly. Season
We
one
have to
ended
see
at
how it
the
ends.
funeral.
Yes, it ended at the funeral of Kate's father.
Yes.
He passed. The main thing, though, is the two main characters, like we said, Sarah Chalk and Catherine Heigl, it's Tully Hart and let's just say Kate Malarkey.
Yeah.
And they've been good friends. The show is about best friends, basically.
Yes.
Growing
Ever since childhood.
ever since, and this was back in what? Would we say late 60s? Is that where the setting started into the 70s?
I think so.
I mean, this is older than me. This is older than me. Come on, agree with me. Agree with me.
Yes.
They're older than me in this show. And it's just fun because it's relatable and seeing things in the 80s and watching shows now going back far.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't make me feel old a little.
A little.
And then the present day they're at is 2004.
5.
5. But to start off, Kate's father has passed at the end of season 2, and her
End of season
and
1.
I didn't say 2.
Yeah.
This is why she needs to be here, and they are not speaking.
Exactly. So she was very unwelcome on the funeral. And that's where season 1 ended. And the beginning of season 2 is where they show a car accident. Remember? They kept just showing always like a small scene of a car accident and a keychain. And that was it. So you're like,
German beer.
yeah,
the German beer
beer keychain. And you're like, okay, wait, what just happened? Like we just started off from the funeral, and they don't really show everything about like whose funeral it was. You wouldn't know. And they would start going with like the timeline of the years, go back and forth, and then they showed whose funeral it was. But they kept showing scenes of that car accident, which we still didn't know who was driving the car or what actually happened. And at the end, we saw whose car accident it was and who was involved. And then, yeah. So That is
But
part of the book.
that's the thing. We should say a little too, if you guys don't know the characters, where Tully comes from a single mom. Her parents, she never knew who her father was.
Yeah.
Correct? And her mother was a kind of a big pothead who was in and out of jail, drugs, was with the
Yes.
wrong crowd. This, like hippie
Yeah, very
style,
hippie
back
style.
in
Yeah.
like the late 60s, early 70s. And that's what she grew up. And then you have Kate Malarkey, who was the nerdy, all-American family, that went to church, so it's like they were complete opposites growing up, but they became such good best friends.
Yes, exactly.
And then as we go along, Tully ends up becoming this famous, we call her
An anchor? Reporter? News anchor?
reporter.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then Kate is always behind the camera. So she's always been, like, what
Her
would you call her?
cheerleader. Cheerleader.
Yeah. Should we go there?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anybody is like anybody in this show,
But slight resemblances.
no, not at all. But that's what you guys should need to know, that she's always been, Katherine Heigl's character has always been the one who's been famous,
Desired.
yeah, stuff, but she can't hold a relationship.
No.
She
had a miscarriage.
Yes, she
was in a relationship with a younger man, but it didn't work out.
All over the place. So just so you know that's like their background. So then let's get back to season 2. Whereas, like you said, we don't know. We keep seeing bits of this car crash.
Yes.
And it's like, who is it? And then when we find out that Kate, and Tully gave each other, who got the keychains for them? They were in the hospital in Germany.
Yeah, because of what was his
name? When he came back from the war.
When Kate's husband, they were divorced. He came back.
They were divorced.
From he was a war zone news reporter.
And it was in Iraq. I think it was.
I think it was Afghanistan.
Was it Afghanistan? Okay, because this was supposedly in the late 90s, right? Or was this?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like in early 2000.
Yeah.
And they had taken him to Germany, and both of them, Kate and Tully, had traveled to Germany because he was in a critical condition and in an induced coma.
Yep.
So that's where they got the keychains from.
And it was it? I think was it at the gift shop there or something? Or she said, "Yeah, we need it because of German beer or something." It was just funny. It was just that little spot of German, just enough to make me giggle, and a little bit of German speaking also. It's like, oh no, I speak English. And so that is kind of how it all takes off from the beginning. But then we find out more about who, Kate's father is. Correct?
Yes, true. Exactly. You mean Tully, not Kate.
Did I just say Kate? See, I'm going to screw up all the characters' names now. Thank you for keeping it straight. Tully's father is, and then she was going all over the place trying to find him.
Yeah, exactly. She was going everywhere to find him. She wanted to know, have closure, and in case, just to meet him. But he had died 6 weeks before she went to that restaurant that he actually owned.
That he owned.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That it was his wife.
His second
that
wife.
Was running his house?
Yes.
And so she had a talk with her about it and to find out. But remember, who was the guy? It was the relationship between the guy that was mean and a jerk to her, who was running for governor.
Governor, yeah. That was the
and
brother.
He owned the blogger.
What?
That was what's his
The Ben Swinger?
Binswanger.
Yeah,
Binswanger.
Ben Swinger.
Sorry, I think that name is funny.
It was his name was Dick Benswinger.
Was it?
Yes.
Shut up. I don't know why. I just couldn't stop laughing at the last name. But he was always, because he was, and at the time, Tully was a reporter.
Yeah.
And he was always mean to her because he knew that his brother was,
Her father.
The father of her. But it was sad because she was not. But she actually did meet him. Remember the twist?
Yes. At the very beginning when she went before to interview him or the owner, and he was like, "No, I'm not the owner here." And then he gave her that aloe plant.
Yeah, because she burned herself.
Yes.
And it was actually her father that had taken care of her.
Yeah.
So that was a sweet moment in the whole thing. But now let's get back to like
we're doing it just like the series now. We're going back and forth.
Well, that's how it goes. And that's what you guys, if you want to, we recommend this. It's a great, a great series,
show.
Season 1 and Season 2. And we were able to watch Season 2 together. That's what was more
fun.
Half
of it, because the other half is going to get released in June or July 2023.
June. It was June. I think we did something like June 3rd or something. But
something like that.
Let's hold off on that for a minute because I love it. But and then after that all, she knows who her father's. What had happened is Tully had lost. She had a show called The Girlfriend Hour, right?
Yes.
She ended up, she wasn't much of a journalist, like say out on the field journalist. She now had her own TV show.
Yes.
And then there was the whole. She ended up kind of getting blacklisted, and they canceled her show
because of the accident.
Oh, because let's get into the accident. So as it's going on, we're noticing they do show that she's behind the wheel the one time. Remember?
They did. Yeah.
What we didn't know is she was picking up Kate's daughter. She was supposed to be having a sleepover with her. She was hanging out with Aunt Tully, and they were going to order pizza, stuff like that. But this girl that she liked, this is now, and her name is Mara.
Yeah.
Asked her to go out. So Tully said, go ahead, go out. But she ended up getting stuck at a fraternity party.
At a frat party, yeah.
At a frat party, and someone was trying to hit on her, and Tully went ballistic because she's had issues like this.
Yeah.
When she was younger. So what was she doing before she left?
She was drinking with her old crush
and
neighbor. And then she got the call. So she wasn't really drunk, but it seems she was buzzed. And she went behind the wheel. Now, the accident was not her fault because she was driving on, it was green for her, but at an intersection, there was a car that drove over red and crashed into her. So they did the, it's like that, what's it called? Intoxication?
The sobriety test?
Yeah.
Sobriety.
Yeah, that one.
And she was over the limit.
Yes. So,
even though she did not cause the accident. She did not.
Exactly. But the headlines in the news were that she was driving drunk, which she wasn't, but she was just a bit, she had a glass too much. And it wasn't even her fault. So this is when everyone started to kick her out everywhere and ignore her. And
but what we didn't know was she had Mara in the car.
Yes, she did.
And Mara, she was hurt badly.
Yes.
She was broken up in all places. She had the dislocated shoulder. She had some broken ribs.
Yeah.
Was she in a coma also when they brought her in?
Or was she had a concussion?
Or bad concussion. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Hence, Kate wanted nothing
to do.
with Tully, that she took her one and only daughter, mind you,
Yes.
who was 15.
Yes.
So, and was supposed to be watching her and spending the night, because she said she was grounded.
Yeah, she was
Do you remember
grounded.
that? She was grounded and she wasn't supposed to go out.
Yes.
But now this accident has now broken
The friendship between those two
the
after 30
friendship,
years.
because Kate could not even look her in the face.
Yeah.
She wouldn't talk to her at the hospital. She wouldn't answer her calls. It was like you
That's
almost
it.
kind of, I almost felt bad for, Tully, because she was so desperate to explain to Kate
Yeah.
the real reasoning why she went and picked her up.
Yeah.
Which was because of past trauma of her own.
That's
and she
true.
didn't even think twice because she didn't feel drunk.
Yeah.
And so it was. And that went on for a little bit.
Yeah,
Kate,
that was
she
like,
wouldn't answer. She would leave message after message. And then, do you remember when they saw each other at the school?
yeah.
It had been months.
At a lecture. Kate was at
Yes.
a lecture, and Tully was meeting a professor there for that Antarctica trip or something.
Yes, the thing she was going to be reporting on. It was going to be 2 months
Yes.
or plus in Antarctica.
Yeah.
And they both passed each other out, like in an outdoor hallway, and they both turned
That
around
was
and
this
looked
moment.
at each other.
Mm.
And it's like I felt it.
Yeah.
I did. I don't know if you felt it, but I felt like it was just sad when you see this. Like you
Yes.
said, you need to watch season 1 to see the buildup of this amazing friendship of two girls from, you would basically say, the different sides of the tracks.
Yeah. That's
Like, or different parts, and then that the bond that they had, even though you fight, even though that they
Yeah.
always came back together. And to see the two of them not speaking at all because Kate was so distraught
Yes.
over what happened. But then Mara tells Tully to come over.
Yeah, she messages her, and Tully
From
thinks
Kate's
it's
phone.
Kate. Yes.
Yeah. Does she show up? She sure does. And then Kate starts freaking out.
Yeah. Because she didn't want to see her.
No. But then she finally let Tully come in. And then she still told her, get out.
Yeah.
She was trying to move on from her. Kate was trying to move on from Tully.
Yeah,
and
to
she
let
thought
go.
she found someone. Remember the woman in school?
Mm. Yeah.
And it just wasn't the same.
Yeah, she was trying to, so hard to replace Tully with this woman in her lecture. Like, she would call her for silly reasons and act like she's her best friend, and that woman would be very what, why are you talking to me in this?
I know. She said, "Hey girl, what are you doing, bitch?"
Yeah,
and she's like, "Who is?"
Who are you calling a bitch? And she was like, "What the f?"
That was funny. That was funny.
Hilarious.
Because you don't think twice, and she was trying so hard to put Tully out of her mind and make friends with this new woman. It just wasn't the same. And it's the truth. In real life, it's so hard to replace.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone, especially if someone your whole life.
Yeah.
But that was funny. But then it comes down to the sad part. And I knew this, and I think you said you knew too, when they were in the bathroom at school, and Kate says, "Oh, I had this rash or this itch on my boob," and she goes to show the new friend, and she freaks out. "Don't show me boob," like if it was Tully. They had no secret.
Exactly.
And then what's the next scene we see?
We see a rash on her boob.
But what is Kate doing? She's sitting in the doctor's
crying
office.
because she had gone to her doctor that said that the diagnosis is breast cancer. And it's aggressive. And stage 3? Did she say it was stage 3 already?
It could be 3 or 4.
It's something extremely aggressive.
She said start treatment right away.
Yeah, exactly. And this is basically where we're getting like to the end of that half season, where she's just like crying and trying to look for Tully because she needs to talk to her. And at the same time, Tully is in the elevator going down to Antarctica.
She's leaving. Yeah, she was headed over to Tully's because she's like, I need her.
Yes.
There is nobody in this world right now. I need Tully, and it's been months since they haven't.
That was almost a year. Was it months?
Well,
Or just a year already?
I don't know if it was that long. Was it? It's so hard to remember because it's back forth. Every time we'd be like, wait, what year? We would remind each other in the middle of the show. Like, what now? Or where is... But it was just like, you're sitting there, and I'm feeling this anxiety as Kate is going to her house. She's like, I am going to her house.
Yeah.
I'm going to her house. And I am, at this whole time, I'm trying not to cry.
Me neither.
Because she looked, I just want to say I love Sarah Chalke. I remember her. She played the second Becky on Roseanne back in the early 90s. So I have known Sarah Chalke since she's played that character. Roseanne is probably one of my all-time favorite television shows since I was a kid. And that's why I love seeing Sarah Chalke. And I've seen her in so many other things. She was in Scrubs. Did you watch Scrubs?
Yes, I did.
Yes. I mean, hilarious.
No, I remember her. Yes.
You did? That's her. I loved her. She's great. And then to see her take on this character and then see her sitting in the hospital, cry herself. And when you get a diagnosis of,
I think it's one
you're
of the
going
worst things ever.
to die. And the doctor's telling her you're going to die. She had no one. All she wanted was her Tully, the person she's relied on all of her life, even more than her own husband.
Yeah.
I need Tully. So, and then what you were saying, she's headed to her now penthouse.
Yes.
I can't even think about it. I'm going to start crying again.
I know.
Okay. And I'm sitting there and you are freaking out. We're both yelling at each other as we're watching this. What were you saying? What did you think was going to happen?
I was like, shit. No, please make it end that they actually see each other and talk, and not miss each other's. And we're like, each one is in a, she's going down the elevator.
There's
we're
two elevators. And we're going, no, it's not. There's one. They're going to meet.
Is there another elevator? Is it just one?
No. And I knew it. The door's open.
And there's no one.
No one's there. Kate walks out, goes over to her door, right?
Yeah, and starts banging the door. It's like, Tully.
And pounding on the door.
No.
Tully. And Tully was already downstairs in the lobby, leaving to go to Antarctica. And that's how the frickin' show ended.
That's how it ended.
And I'm literally like, oh my God, no! Get back here!
I'm like, maybe she forgot something if she turns back, like, just show us that she's turning back home, like, to the elevator and going up.
She forgot something,
Exactly, but...
Not even that, but how did it actually end? That's not how it ended. Do you remember?
It ended, like, the last part.
They jumped 10 years.
After 10 years.
It was 10 years later they jumped. This was the last sequence of the show.
It was like for 10 seconds as well. Tully was sitting there and was getting ready behind her, the veil with a wedding dress. And she's like, well, it's not going to start without me. So apparently she's getting married. But
yes, but who was upstairs, standing there?
What was his name?
Johnny.
And
that is
Kate's brother.
Ex-husband.
Yeah, he was the ex-husband, and then they got back again, and he proposed.
Yes, they were going to get married. Her and Kate, they were going to get remarried. Kate and Johnny. Johnny was he's been in the background this whole time. Johnny, that's someone they all worked with. Tully knew who Johnny was. They actually slept together at one point, didn't they?
They did. Before Kate and Johnny dated.
Kate and Johnny were each other's sweethearts since they worked together.
Yeah.
So That's how it ends. Johnny, it looks like Johnny is downstairs waiting for Tully to come down and get married. And I had a heart attack.
Me too. I'm
My
like,
tears turned to a stroke.
does this mean Kate is dead? Like, wait, are they getting married together now because Kate is dead? And after 10 years, it's like, move on? Like this, I was like,
or it's like you wonder, is there something in Kate's death that she asked of Tully or of Johnny? Or is it not? And she's Danny. Danny was the one
the guy she was having drinks
that
with
Tully
that
had a
moved
crush
next to
on.
her.
She had slept with him. They dated, right?
Yeah. And then he moved to New York for work. And they were never able to tell each other how they felt, but they really liked each other and they wanted to have it as a serious relationship. But they both were also like a bit focused on their career and with life and everything. They were just like moving on. So
it's so enjoyable. But our worry, both me and you, is this second part, and it's the conclusion. Yes. So you're only going to have the first season and then this double part second season. Yes. Kate passes because, again, I love Sarah Chalk and I love the character she brought to this character. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She does a silly dork. Yeah. That's how I see her. She's a good actress doing the silly kind of doofus, and that is the character. And you fall in love with that character of hers. Whereas, Katherine Heigl plays this, no one's gonna, tough as nails, rich, because she's really hard. And so it's such a good show. Yeah. I'm just worried. What do you think? Do you think we're going to be able to handle that second part?
I have no idea.
Or are we just here with a box of tissues? Probably. Or for you, a roll of paper?
I mean, we should be prepared with a box of tissues, but I really hope that the writers change this and they're not gonna kill off Kate, but are gonna make something like, for example, in the meantime, Tully met someone, or it's Danny, and he got a divorce or so, and he's now getting married to Tully, But
and this is actually a book.
Yeah, based on the book, Kate and Johnny have 3 kids, and she eventually dies, and that's when Johnny and Tully get married. So I hope it's not based on the book.
But then I'm wondering if, what if she ends up having a kid with Johnny? But how old are they then? Are they in their 40s? I mean, this is where my mind's going into a whole nother direction, like, what if she tells her on her deathbed, please take care of Johnny? Yeah. But it's just like her kid. She only has one kid in the show, and it's Mara. And in 10 years, she's 25.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she would be old and out of the house and having her own life. So it's going to be interesting if they play by how the book goes, or if they twist it a little. But it's because most books, someone always dies.
Yeah, that's true.
Why do they have to pick the lovable, likable Kate to be the one to get terminal breast cancer? So let's hope.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 6 months from now, and you and your curiosity that kills the cat woman, we'll see. But I definitely think I will need tissues.
Yeah, same.
I can't recommend this show. I mean, even for guys, it is, I think, more of a girl.
Especially with the friendship and everything. Like it sounds more relatable, but it's not one of those girls soap shows or something. I mean,
because I'm not like that. I am not going to sit here and watch some love story crap. I mean, what did I tell you? You're like, you haven't watched The Notebook? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that a big mushy love story? I don't know why, because that stuff to me is so hard to even believe.
I know. Look, If you tell me let's watch The Notebook, I'm gonna tell you no thanks. I've watched it once or twice, and that is it. It's not something I would like, go back to watching because it's
wait a
like,
minute.
eh.
Well, so if I said let's watch The Notebook, you'd say no.
Let's watch something else. There's so many other movies that you can watch and enjoy.
Yeah, and what's on the list that you still need to watch?
I don't know.
Dun 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 dun.
Star Wars. Yeah, well.
Dun, dun,
Maybe we
dun,
need
dun,
an
dun.
episode after
That's
I
gonna
watch
be one.
Star
We're gonna
Wars.
get you. This chick has never seen Star Wars. She saw episode 1 in the 90s. The worst episode there probably could have been with tiny Anakin and young Padme. That
Yes.
kid was so annoying. The only thing was the pod race that made that movie.
Yeah, I remember.
But she did not, well, she wasn't even alive for the for the first 3. I mean, you weren't. They were all done, So I was alive for the first 3. We will definitely have to do, a series of Star Wars. Because I know I have a few Star Wars fans that would probably enjoy listening to you give your opinion of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
again, thumbs up. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you in another week.
Next time. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.